let's do a few facts. All right. You can't talk about World War II without certainly spending some time together talking about the Holocaust and the Nuremberg trials that came after that. So first, some facts, then we talk. Hitler proclaimed what at a meeting of the Nazi Party way in 1922? Mackenzie.
There can be no compromise. There are only two possibilities, either victory of the Aryan or annihilation of the Aryan and the victory of the Jew.
Exactly. And the point of that question is he made his plans quite clear early in his career. And what did the recurring theme of anti-Semitism result in between 1933 and 1939? Lauren?
A wave of legislative acts against the Jews.
Exactly. Now, let's take a time out. Do you remember I told you that that was called state-sponsored persecution of Jews? Do you remember any examples of how the Nazi state persecuted the Jews in those years? Henry?
Pinkers and the emigrate from Germany.
Okay, that's true. And Taylor?
I remember it was like, was it the Night of Glass?
Night of Shattered
Night
Glass.
of Shattered Glass.
Right. Jewish businesses, Kristallnik, all right? Probably mispronounced, but, for sure. Jewish synagogues broken into. Ann, Lauren, yes?
Didn't they say Jewish German people could not be German citizens?
That's true. That was the 1935 Nuremberg laws, for sure. And then remember, as early as 1933, there was a 3-day boycott of all Jewish businesses. That was state-sponsored persecution. Didn't result in too many deaths, but obviously Hitler had made his intentions quite clear. The Nazi Party policy focused on what at the beginning of 1939, Jackie?
Promoting the immigration of German Jews from Europe.
Yeah, and I'd like to stand here and say the ones that actually left Germany with virtually nothing, they were the lucky ones. They were the lucky ones. Hitler then stepped it up and developed the Madagascar plan. Hitler and his generals, which was?
They planned to ship massive amounts of Jews to the African island.
Right, which was considered to be unwieldy and unworkable, and so a new plan was developed. The final solution, the total annihilation of all Jews. The dates of that, just for the record, 1939 to 1945. 33 to 39 is the state-sponsored persecution. 39 to 1945, the final solution. All right, led by Reinhard Heydrich under Hitler's orders. Okay. Question 6. Einsatzgruppe. Tell me anything that you know about that date.
It was special strike forces, and they would round up Polish Jews and put them into ghettos.
Exactly. Tell me anything else that you know about that, please. Lauren?
They would execute and bury Jews in Soviet villages and mass graves.
Yes. Lauren, anything else?
It's estimated that it killed 1 million Jews, but was still perceived as inadequate.
Yeah, right. Killing 1 million Jews was perceived as not enough, not fast enough. Can you imagine digging your own grave, knowing that in a few minutes you're going to be in there?
That picture, the picture of the guy like kneeling down, that's just so creepy.
Isn't it?
It's no, he's gonna die in like a second.
Exactly.
He's
Exactly.
shot.
And you know you have no choice. If you don't just follow through, you're going to be dead a couple seconds earlier. So this is just horrible. The final solution. Question 7. Please describe the Nazis' plan for systematic annihilation of the European Jews. Hannah, please give me the details.
Jews from German territories would be rounded up and shipped to Poland, where 6 extermination camps were built for that purpose.
Right. You see the extermination camps on the map on page 835. And also, I like that map because it shows, I don't like it, but I mean, it certainly spells out how many Jews and how many individuals were killed in which locations. The most famous, of course, was Auschwitz. Zyklon B was chosen for what? For what horrible purpose, man?
It was the most effective gas for quick killing of large numbers of people.
Exactly. And then they were buried in mass graves. Of course, Jews were also killed by, sorry to be gross here, some of them were put alive into ovens. Some of them were the victims of horrible medical experiments that we won't go into, but you can probably take a guess at what went on. This is horror beyond belief, for sure, perpetrated by the Nazi state. A few more facts and then we talk. The Wannsee Conference, what was worked out at that conference? Mackenzie, what was worked out there?
All the bureaucratic details that the party and the state officials would cooperate fully in the final elimination.
Exactly. So in other words, everybody then in the Nazi state was on the same page, and they proceeded with the final solution. The last set of facts before we talk. Give me some stats from questions 11 to 20 on how bad the Holocaust was, right? I need some grisly facts. Yes, Lauren?
The Germans killed about 5 to 6 million Jews.
Yes, for sure. That's the number we have. Chad, any other details?
80% of all Jews in Poland, the Baltic countries, and Germany were exterminated.
How horrible is that? Steve, more grisly details, please.
They were also responsible for shooting, starving, and overworking at least 9 to 10 million people.
Yes, this is true. Overworking also was a way of killing people. Lauren, a few more details, please.
40% of the 1 million gypsy population were also killed in death camps.
Yeah, for sure. Dave, one more thing and then let's talk.
The Germans would rather exterminate the Jews than instead of what the military argued would be a good idea for just using them to produce like arms and bullets and stuff.
Exactly. And of course, how sick is that? You know, when I think back on the Holocaust, well, I don't like to think about it, but when I do, quite frankly, there are some incredibly troubling questions about it. And let's get into some of those. Discussion question number 2. One of the questions that always troubled me is, why didn't the Western Allies, when they were sweeping through Europe, killing Nazis, they were aware of the death camps. Why didn't they make the death camps their early targets of liberation? Why didn't they liberate the camps and save lives? Henry, doesn't that
I
trouble
gotta
you?
imagine there's some anti-Semitic feelings. I mean, the Dreyfus Affair wasn't too far back. Wasn't it like 1880s?
Yes.
And a lot of the soldiers were, a lot of the officials of Western Allies were kids, and they were around like during the late 19th century where there was a lot of anti-Semitism.
I see.
I got to imagine countries such as Britain, France, and the Soviet Union still weren't really big Jewish fans.
I'm sure they weren't. Does this trouble you at all? Kind of, why didn't the Western Allies liberate the camps first and kill Nazis later?
Well, if you liberated the camps first, it's just releasing all the Jewish people back out to where the Nazis were to be sent out again. Plus, if anyone's seen the TV series or movie Band of Brothers, they did stumble upon a concentration camp, and they found thousands of people just starving to death. So if you release that many people, they're just going to immediately flock to the nearest town and devastate the nearest town. They had to keep them in one place and then give them medical attention and food and everything until these people are healthy enough to leave. And where would they go? I mean, their homes and everything and their villages were already destroyed and wiped out. And the Nazis knew those were Jewish villages and stuff, so they're targeting them.
For sure. So I guess that you can understand, Dave, why the Western Allies didn't liberate the camps at first?
Yeah, I also agree that it was much better at first to go and liberate France, because then France would be able to provide troops and soldiers and supplies and stuff that would help, like the final push into Germany. And I think they kind of, if they knew about all of them, I think maybe they figured that the Soviet Union would free them when they came from the east.
Fair enough. Chad, what do you think about this troubling question?
I guess to just continue with that, I'm going to state the obvious and say they're on the wrong side of Germany. I mean, it would have been kind of physically impossible for the Allies to liberate the camps that first day in Germany. The Soviet Union had their own problems, and I'm not sure they were too concerned with that given their government. But, I mean, obviously, logistically, that wouldn't work very well.
Right, looking at the map. So, I guess, Andrew, military targets first, liberating the camps second, right?
Well, I was going to say part of what Chad said with, at least for the British and the Americans, that the concentration camps in Germany, they were the ones that they did come across, like Kyle said, but the extermination camps in Poland were too far away, and they would have had to go through the heart of Germany first, which was just too difficult.
Right.
As far as the Soviets after Stalingrad were concentrated on pushing Germany back out of their country, and that was all they cared about.
Right.
So within 2 years, they had pushed Germany back all the way to Berlin and actually taken the capital. So, I mean, to stop that offensive would have given the Germans a bit of a time to recover.